The global financial crisis of 2008 caused a rise in suicide rates around the world, especially among men. Researchers from Britain and Hong Kong said around 5,000 more people committed suicide in 2009 than would normally be the case. They said young men in Europe and middle-aged men in America were disproportionately hit by soaring unemployment. The Samaritans charity says 1 in 6 calls they received last year was about financial difficulties. That's up from 1 in 10 before the crisis. Well, Simon Howells is from the suicide prevention charity Calm, and he joins me now from Liverpool in the north of England. And Simon Howells, thank you very much for talking to us. I just wondered if the calls for help your organisation is getting are reflecting the financial realities of the time.
Yes, I think what's really key is the fact that people are struggling with what's going on around their worlds, and particularly for men, I think the loss of job and loss of finances and the ability to provide for their families or their future prospects is a major pressure on them.
Have you seen an increase in those calls?
We certainly are getting more people who are calling about those sorts of issues, and especially in the UK around the changes to benefits and things that can really unsettle them within their communities and where they live.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the conversations are like. What do they say to you? How do they feel that you can help them?
Well, firstly, I think it's really important to understand that from a man's point of view, often men aren't particularly verbal about what's going on in their minds. You know, we are kind of brought up with this idea that being silent is the best way of bottling it up and kind of taking it on the chin. So when a man does call a helpline or ask for help, they really are often quite in crisis. And they're trying to make sense of it and recognise that actually this isn't something they can solve on their own, that they need help.
Yeah, it's interesting in a country where so many women work that it seems to be men who are feeling most desperate about the financial realities.
Well, I think you know we are kind of brought up to believe that we should be in control, that we should be able to protect those around us and never be a burden to them, and that we should provide and you know really be the man of the house and all these phrases that hang around. And so for men, I think it really hits them hard, and they don't often have the support networks around them. You know, I often say that women, when they break up with somebody, they will get together, they'll have a bottle of wine and process it. Men often kind of don't have that kind of pulling together. It's more kind of, you know, pull yourself together and get back out there.
Gosh, it's fascinating that you think even just the way that women deal with problems by sort of sharing them with their friends can actually translate into a difference in real desperation, suicidal feelings in the society, making a difference between men and women. I just wanted to know, obviously, yeah, you can't change financial situations for people, but what can you do for those predominantly men that come to you? Tell them they're not alone.
Well, I mean, you know, 77% of all suicides in the UK are male, so clearly that these pressures are affecting men disproportionately. And what we do is enable them to firstly vent that and get that off their chest, find a way of processing it themselves, which you can't really do it internally. You have to do externally. You have to talk. And secondly, they can then put them in contact with other agencies that might be able to help them with specific things, whether that's job hunting or debt issues, or it could be, you know, completely separate, could be to do with sexuality or mental health related. So the whole point is to give them a sort of safe environment, an environment that makes sense to them, and then give them the help and support they need and the space they need to be able to process it and then move forward and solve the problems with support.
Simon Howells from Calm, thank you so much for joining us from Liverpool.